Good morning, Stacey Ashley here, and another beautiful day in Sydney. I would love to know, if you're not watching live, where are you? And I don't just mean, the country or the state, but where are you working from today? Is it the kitchen table or the lounge room or the study or the back deck or wherever you might be? I hope you've got yourself set up. I want to talk today about something that's been coming up, in a lot of conversations around the challenges of leadership right now. And of course, there's always challenges with leadership, and it's not necessarily that different. What I'm finding, though, is some of the things that were, a little bit problematic or weren't quite working as smoothly as they could have before COVID are now amplified. And so that's creating a bigger challenge or requirement of leaders. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today is the benefits of coaching your work from home team, if that's the situation you're in. But of course, coaching can be used across all teams, whether you're face-to-face, whether you're virtual, whether, you're in the workplace, whether you're distributed. But I really feel like coaching gives you a tremendous opportunity and advantage as a leader when working with your team, particularly when you're in this distributed environment. So I would love to know about your thoughts if you're watching live. If you're watching the recording, of course, pop your comments in as well, and I will come back to you. I'm just going to check my stream, see if I've got any people with me here this morning. And it looks like, yes, we are live. So that's great. So if you're live, welcome. Love to hear what you've got to say on this topic of coaching and coaching your people. Are you already coaching or using a coaching approach? So you don't necessarily need to be full on pure coaching, but taking the opportunity to coach in the moment. And so what I believe is that, and what I've seen and what I've experienced is that coaching is not just, of course, incredibly beneficial for your team members because it's about their growth and development and, equipping them and enabling them and that sort of thing. But coaching just benefits the person who's actually doing the coaching and using a coaching approach, and that's the leader. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today is all the advantages of using, a coaching approach. So I'm not going to go through them all, of course, but there's a few, and I really feel for leaders at the moment because what I'm hearing is in lots of cases they're super busy. They seem to be working longer hours. They're more stressed because obviously we've got lots of other factors and conditions in play at the moment. The other thing, though, is of course that it's almost like they're unsighted because they're not necessarily working the same hours as their people, and they may not be in the same location, and that's much more extensive than it has been in the past. And so leaders can feel like they're at a bit of a disadvantage. They can't see what's going on. They're not right next to someone or near someone to be able to offer support, all of those sorts of things. And again, this is where I believe that coaching can really come in and be, one of your best friends as a leader, and using that coaching approach. So let's just talk through just a couple of the benefits to you as a leader in using a coaching approach. Well, the first one for me is a biggie, and that is if you use a coaching approach, then you don't need to do everything yourself. And there are a lot of leaders who, and I'm generalizing a bit, but these are the themes that I'm hearing. There are a lot of leaders at the moment who feel like they have to muck in and do everything. And that's simply not the case. If you're using a coaching approach with your team, then they can opt in and they can step up and they can take accountability. So that's the first thing. You don't end up doing everything yourself. The second thing, of course, is that when you use a coaching approach, you don't need to be the expert in everything. You don't need to know the answer to everything. You're coaching others to find their answers. You're coaching others to tap into their own experiences, their own knowledge, their own wisdom, their own initiative. Yeah. So you can let go of being the expert, which is really about setting down a really big expectation. You don't need to be the expert in everything. That is not your job as a leader. Your job as a leader is to lead. And by using a coaching approach, that's exactly what you're doing. So you don't have to answer all the questions. You don't have to solve all the problems. Use a coaching approach and tap into your team of people. And you can coach virtually very easily, whether it's by phone, whether it's some kind of video platform. There's lots of opportunities for you to be able to use a coaching approach, whether with a single person or with groups or your whole team. So that's the second benefit. So number one is you don't have to do everything. Number two is you don't have to know everything. But number three, and I think this is becoming more visible as something that's important to leaders, is when they're not in the same space as their team and they don't have direct visibility of what their team is focused on, then they don't necessarily have complete confidence that their team members are focusing on the right things in the right way. Now, if you are using a coaching approach with them to determine what they're going to work on and how they're going to tackle it and what level of priority that they're going to give it, then you know with confidence that that's what they're focused on. So you use a coaching approach to build their accountability and commitment to whatever the piece of work is, whatever the priorities are. So you've got, all of those opportunities to, again, transfer accountability to them. And then you can know with confidence that that's what they're committed to doing. And you can trust that they're going to do it. So let me just check in with my stream here just to see if I have any questions or comments coming up. Great. So I can see Ray there. Hi. And a few other people watching, so welcome. And I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about coaching, using a coaching approach as a leader. So I've talked about a few benefits already, but let me keep going. So as well as not having to do everything, not having to know everything, but also having trust and confidence that your people are focused on the right things. There's a long list of benefits. I'm not going to go through them all today, but I think there's a lot that will make a big impact in a short space of time in terms of the benefits to you as the leader. The next one is that coaching your people and using a coaching approach is a great way to be able to offer support and help to them, again, without having to do everything yourself. So you're providing the support, you're providing the space for the conversation, but you don't have to answer all the questions. You don't have to solve all the problems. You're helping them. You're facilitating the conversation so that they can solve them. They can figure out where to go to get extra information. They can figure out which resources they need. And then you can ask a question about, what do you need from me? Or what other support do you need? And that opens up that you are offering help and support, and then they can request what it is that they need, and then you can coach through that. So you've got lots of opportunities to support them without having to do it yourself, without having to solve the problem. And then finally, I think dealing with interruptions. This is a big one, and particularly now when we've got this distributed kind of workforce, when people come in and there's an interruption, and when I say come in, they Skype you or message you or Zoom you or whatever they're using. We don't want those interruptions to become real time consumers, because that's what can happen when we get an interruption kind of in a normal circumstance, and I'm talking about white collar environments. When we get a normal interruption, that can take on average up to 25 minutes for you to get back to the same place in your own work. So interruptions can be massively impactful if you get a lot of them. But again, if you tackle those interruptions with a coaching approach, you're going to shorten the conversation, because often what happens with a typical interruption is they come to you, they have a story or a situation or a problem they want to solve, and they tell you the story, and that takes a really long time. And at the end of the story, they kind of hand over the problem or the situation to you. And you don't need that. It's not your job to work through that. It's their job if it's in their portfolio. And so by using a coaching approach, we shorten the conversation because we're asking very specific, targeted questions to help them explore and solve the issue. And then they take it away and solve it. You don't get handed the issue at the end. So your to-do list is not getting longer anymore. So I've got shorter conversations, they get back to work, you get back to work. And so what that means then is that you're actually much more in control of your own workday. And that means that you're creating space for your thinking, for your creativity, for your, strategic planning, so that you can step into your leadership. Yeah, so lots of benefits to you from using a coaching approach. And I really encourage you, if you're not already, to begin to use a coaching approach and just start simply, ask open questions, listen really well, and go into it with the intent of helping others to work through and find their own way forward. Yeah. Let me just check on my comments. All right. So my encouragement is use a coaching approach. It will help you as, from a leadership perspective to actually be more in your leadership space and less in the doing, and solving other people's problems space. So I'm just going to check on my comments again. I can see a few coming through. Rahula, not good to hear you again. Nadia, nice to have you, and Georgina. So if you've got any questions, just pop them into the comments for me. As you know, there is a little bit of a delay, but I'll keep an eye out for them. I think coaching is such an underutilized opportunity for us generally, but now when we've got these complex conditions and situations that we're working in, capitalize on it. It's going to make your life easier as the leader. It's going to help your people to move forward really quickly. Of course, the other thing that I love about coaching is that the buck doesn't, or the requirement to know everything and be everything and do everything doesn't sit with you. What it allows you to do is to tap into, ideas, initiatives, strengths, action, problem solving, collaboration, innovation with all of the people around you. So when I talk about coaching your people, I'm not just necessarily focusing on, say, your direct reports or your team. You can coach your peers, you can coach your boss. If you're not getting enough information or the right kind of information or the right kind of support, then coach them into that space so that you get what it is that you need in order to be able to execute your role as a leader as well. So I would love to know, what do you think about coaching? How can you do more of it? If you're already coaching, then just really think about what other opportunities do you have to coach or use a coaching style or approach. If you're not coaching yet, just start simply, nice open questions, what questions, how questions, and really amp up your listening so that when you get that information in, then you can ask another great question and help your people to work through their situation or problem or task or activity so that they know how to actually move forward and they can make really great choices and decisions and be accountable. Yeah, that's what we want. We want them to be accountable for the things that are in their portfolio so you can focus on the things that are in your portfolio. Okay, lovely. Have a great day. Love to know your thoughts. One other little thing that I wanted to mention is if you want to get some great coaching questions, if you really want to focus on boosting your own leadership right now, then you can join the 28-day Leadership Performance Boost. It's a 28-day self-coaching challenge. So just comment 28 days and I'll send you the details. All right, have a great day and I will see you soon.